I'm starting to think about these scenarios like we had mentioned yesterday, and we we're talking about it a little bit this morning on the draft show of like, what if they get completely wiped? And we're looking at Bernhard Raimann as the Central Michigan tackle as the pick at 24.
Yeah.
Or just like as a trade back candidate. Like KG texted me this the other day. He was like, what's the worst case scenario for the Cowboys? And that's an interesting question because I don't think we've talked about all these different options they could potentially have. I don't think we've gone down this path of like, this is a bad scenario for them. And I think that might be the scenario where it's like, that's going to be a little challenging. Not that Bernhard Raymond's not a good player. I think he is. And he's an intriguing prospect. He's athletic. And he could be a starter on this offensive line for a number of years. But I think that might be where you'd most be in a pinch. You've wiped out the linemen, the receivers you like aren't there, and you're staring at either Bernhard Raimann or a position you don't really want to take. And so that's the kind of the scenario that I'm trying to figure out. Where is it that they go at that point? And if they were facing that, I think they either go Raimann, trade back, or at that point you might be looking at them going ahead and getting a corner. Because I would guess if the board fell like that, you'd have a corner as the top player.
I'm just going to tell you what, Robert, and by the way, you did a great job on the draft show this morning. You really did.
I tried.
I'm doing Tyler Linderbaum. I don't, if I'm not going to get wiped out, if he's still on the board and all those options you just gave me, no, that's my guy right there. I'm not going to sit there and take a guy that's 3 years from being an offensive tackle. I get it, upside, ceiling, floor, whatever you want to talk about the guy. I'm going to take the guy that I know can play right now and can do good things. So I'm going to try and help this offensive line. And are you telling me he's not going to be there? Because if he's not, then that means, is he part of the really wiped out program, or are you just saying that they're not going to take that guy?
I would say I'd wonder at that point if they're just in the really wiped out portion of it, because I don't. This is such an unpredictable draft, right? And I think when you look at the way they visit their guys and some of the top guys that they've got coming into this draft, like the way we would stack the board, coupled with the guys that they have at their 30, I don't think it's totally unrealistic to think that they could get wiped. And so I don't know that it's likely, but I think there's a realistic path where they're looking at this, and it may be like, man, we've got to help this offensive line. Jerry sounds like a guy who, I want to help the offensive line no matter what. I don't care if it's a reach. You've talked about how, when you're picking where you are, you might have to grab about a round early. Grabbing Raimann would be about a round early. Yeah. And I think after the top 4 tackles, to me, he's the next best. I don't know. Is that who you have next, Brian?
Yeah, I
do.
Number
5 is Raimann?
Yeah, he's number 5. Penning is number 4. But yeah,
but you're not crazy about Penning either, though, are you?
No, I am. There's the top 3, and then there's Penning, and we were watching some tape of that, of our Kansas Johnson, the defensive end at the Senior Bowl and stuff like that, and he was kind of getting some
friend of the nosebleeds,
getting some Johnson. Rush. Yeah, Kyron Johnson was getting some good rush. So I'm not totally scared of the player. I think he'd bring some toughness to the team. But I'm with you, though. I don't think there's a scenario where they get completely wiped out. Unless you feel like losing both those guards is getting wiped out.
I would feel like that's getting wiped out for them. I think they would feel like that. Look, if you tell me Burks, Olave, Green, and Johnson are gone, and the tackles would likely be gone at that point too, I don't know what they might do there. Other than just they might lean toward, and that's something that we'll have to kick around and investigate. I think ask around some other people, like, hey, what is it if this is the scenario? Who's your Diggs, right? Like nobody would have thought Diggs at 17 was realistic. I think he was a genuine option for them if they got wiped out. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that I think we need to figure out is who's your Diggs, like who's going to be the Diggs at 24. And maybe they are concerned with that situation. That's why they've done some of this investigation to look to go up a little bit.